Okay, welcome everybody to this presentation called Basic Things That Everyone Needs to Know. So here we go. Okay, so a few things that everyone at Trophy Pools and Service needs to know is we have a saying here that you might have heard already: honest plus humble plus helpful equals happy. And so we'll just cover those real quick. So, honest. Obviously, we want people to be honest. And by the way, we assume you're going to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't have hired you. If we didn't think you were going to be all three of these, we wouldn't have brought you on. So we think that you are, and um, we're looking forward to growing in this together. So, honest. We got to be honest. We can't lie. We've had situations where employees were embarrassed to admit that they had broken something or they did something and it came back to bite us. The customers thought we were full of it or lying or dishonest or all that, and technically we were because one of the employees was being that way. So it never pays to be dishonest. We got to be honest with each other. If we're not honest, there's no trust. If there's no trust, it's a dysfunctional relationship. Obviously, we can't have that. We don't want that. Let's always be honest. And you're gonna be honest if you are humble. What is it to be humble? Well, it could mean a lot of things. One, that you can take corrective criticism. You do something wrong, or there's a better way to do it, and somebody tells you, you're humble and you can receive that and you can grow from that. The opposite of that would be, nope, I'm right. Nope, you're full of it. You're wrong. That's not being humble. Um, Another way of being humble is even if you are right, is to just humble yourself and let it go. We have to do that with customers sometimes. They blame us or they for something wrong or they say something that's just not correct. We have to swallow our pride and just yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and we got to do what we got to do, um, and that's okay, especially around each other. It's more important than the customers, even in my opinion, is us around each other at Trophy Pools and Service as employees together. If we are good, humble teammates, we put the other one first before ourselves, man, we're not going to have any problems. And if we're helpful, that's obvious. You got to be helpful, got to work, got to do work. Um, and if we're all that, we're happy. If we're honest, humble, and helpful, we're going to be happy at Trophy. It, Even if you're not the fastest or the best thing ever known to pools, that's okay. If you're honest, humble, and helpful, you'll be happy. All right, so let's get into some of these other things that we all need to know about. One is going into homes. You're going to be working at residences, at people's houses, you know, up to 20 places a day, even, and going in homes. We are invited into homes sometimes. Obviously, that's the only time you would go in a home is when you're invited. And it can be by a man, a woman, a kid, or whatever. Let's talk about those things. Obviously, if a kid opens the door and you knock on it, you're there to do some pool work, and the kid opens the door, never, ever, ever go in that house. Ever. If a kid opens the door, don't go in that house. I don't think I have to repeat that. Also, if you happen to be alone and a person of the opposite gender opens the door and invites you in, don't go in. Just don't. Walk around the other side, say, you know what, my feet are muddy. I'll just go through the gate if you don't mind. And most of the time, people don't invite you in. They'll open the door and they'll say, hold on, I'll go get the gate. And they have a lock on it or something. So just do that. Try to go around the side. If they insist that you come in and you have somebody with you, a partner with you, that's fine. You have a witness there for. Just be smart about it, and also check your feet. Sometimes you might have stepped in some droppings. Your feet are muddy or something like that. If you can avoid going in homes, just going around. Now, listen. Sometimes our curiosity can get the best of us. We do go to some very, very, very nice homes. And if they're very nice and they invite you in to cool off or to look around or whatever, okay, it's hard to resist. That's fine. Just use your best judgment. Check your feet and check your surroundings. Don't go in if it's a kid or a person of the opposite gender and you're by yourself. Vaping. You know, I get it. There are physical, um, I guess, addictions or whatnot that we have, and vaping can be one of those. You're allowed to vape if you want, if your partner is cool with it. So that's part of being cool. That's another thing we have at Trophy is being cool. Being cool means you're cool with the person you're working with. If they just hate it and they detest it, out of being humble to them, humbling yourself, just don't vape. I know that can be hard. This person may humble himself a little bit and say, okay, once a day, I don't know, whatever. Just work it out between the two of you. And we don't want to do it at a customer's house, walking up to their house, blowing a huge cloud everywhere, or even in their backyard. People don't like that. They don't want that. So we don't want to do that. If you want to do it in the van, you can in the front, with the windows down if your partner's cool with it. Um, and then outside of the van, you pull up to a stop and you're walking around to the back or to the side and you do that. Okay, so be it. Never in a backyard and only if your partner's cool with it. It's just something we have to do, humble ourselves otherwise. No smoking. No smoking in the vans, period. End of story. Uh, do not smoke in a van, in the front, in the back, especially. Nowhere in a van, nowhere on customer property. We really highly encourage no smoking whatsoever. Okay, flirting with anyone and then coworkers. So you may walk into the backyard of a and there may be some attractive people of the whatever opposite gender there, and you may want to flirt with them. Well, just don't. You never know what's going to happen. um I gosh, you just don't know what's just don't. It's not worth it. um it's not worth it. So there was one instance where I walked into the backyard and there was an attractive young lady there, and I'm married and whatever, so nothing there. But if I were single, I'd have been tempted to, I guess, flirt with her, and it appeared she was doing that to me, and I wasn't receiving that and whatever. And then out walks this giant bodybuilder looking dude who was her boyfriend. Like he would have obliterated me. It just would have been so bad. So just don't. And it gets weird. It just gets weird. If you get caught and they're married or whatever, just don't. Just don't do it. Also, coworkers. You know, just don't. It can get weird. Just don't do it. Arguing with customers. Never ever argue with a customer. That should be going without saying, but just don't. I mean, you can explain things. They ask questions. Hey, why is this broke? What's this do? You can explain things to them, but just never argue with the customer at all. If you think that it's getting out of hand or they're being unreasonable or you have a question they can't answer, you can't answer or something, just call your supervisor. Let them talk, put them on speakerphone, whatever. Just don't ever argue with a customer. Even if you're right and they're wrong, just don't. Relay that to your supervisor. We can sort that kind of stuff out. Cussing. Don't just don't cuss. I know it's gonna slip out. You hit your hand with a hammer, you fall, whatever. It slips. Even in telling a story or something, it might accidentally slip out. It happens, but that's the environment. That's not the environment that we have at Trophy. Is one where we're standing around cussing and cussing on purpose. It's never cuss in front of a customer, and try your best not to cuss at the shop around Trophy employees. It's just something we don't do. Is cussing. In prayer, we're gonna pray every day. Uh, if you don't want to, that's fine. If it offends you, that's okay. If you want to just, you know, you have freedom here. You can close your ears. You can go into another room. We will respect that if you want to do that. You don't have to pray out loud, of course, yourself, but we're going to respect your rights as a person. If you don't want to pray or hear prayer, then that's fine. Just let us know, and seriously, we're going to respect that and let you do your thing there. But we do pray every morning at least, and that's just part of what we do. We feel like Trophy uh, was a gift from God, that God gave us Trophy, all of us, including you now, and we're going to be good stewards, and we're going to give him credit and glory every day. And yeah, that's something we do. If you have a problem or don't like that, then just let us know. We can work around that. Weather days. Some days we're going to have weather days. Well, I guess every day is having weather, but point is, some days are just not workable. Those days are mainly in the winter time. Um, Sometimes in the winter we have heavy snow or just about any snow. We have temperature minimums. If it's too cold, you just can't work. Your fingers don't function. It just doesn't work. Um, so we have weather days. Sometimes if it's raining in the spring and it's just a rain out all day long, it's just the way it goes. On those weather days, we just we just we just don't get paid. Nobody's getting paid. Trophy's making $0 and paying $0. It just sucks. We just miss out. What we try to do is get ahead on our weeklies and knock that out for the next couple days or a day before if we can see a weather day coming. But it's just kind of the way it goes. We can discuss that further in the future as far as pay and all that, but that's the way it is right now. Um, we just it just stinks for everybody, and it's just kind of the way it goes. We usually only have maybe, I don't know, 2 to 5 weather days a year where it's just not workable, and we'll see about that. So that is the end of the first video. We're gonna do a part 2 of things that everybody needs to know, and that is coming up next.